you know, let's talk about the impossible and possible because, there is this, belief in the world that there are stuff we can create, they're possible, something is impossible, and there is this debate that some people say everything is possible, some other people say something else. So, what's your opinion around this question?
Well, there seems to be a physical world that has rules. So there are things that seem to be impossible, at least with our current understanding, within the physical constraints that we have. But if you're talking more about from the psychological, from the mental, um, I don't know if there's a line, but I've never come close to it, if there is one.
Mm,
When you think about, I mean, I come from the corporate world. Like everything in the corporate world is 100% made up, right? I mean,
yeah.
budgets and financial planning and strategy, it's all just thinking. So if something's made of thought, you can change it.
Yeah, and actually, almost everything is made of thought, and or maybe
that, that
everything.
we
We
that
don't
we as
all.
humans really deal
Yeah.
with regularly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be an NBA basketball player. It doesn't particularly bother me, but because in the physical world I just don't meet the requirements.
Yeah.
But set that aside, and who knows what's possible.
Yeah, and that's a great way to say it. Who knows what is possible and why? And every time when you decide that something is impossible, we need to slow down and actually ask ourselves, why do we think like
Right,
this? Where is this coming from, right?
right. You know what my favorite thing to hear from a potential coaching client is, I could never do that.
I love it.
Right? Because I love exploring that with someone because it's normally it's something they would really like to do, and for whatever reason they have um, they've written it off. Like that's too unrealistic. That's too it's not consistent with who I am. Whatever, and almost all of the time there's something in there that's really an interesting draw for that person, and there's
Hmm.
all kinds of like mental constructions that they've made up that can be let go of, and when those do fall away
Yeah.
they can totally do that.
And it's like a miracle, right? It's like you
Yeah,
just freeze yourself. You
it
just
looks like a
freeze yourself.
miracle. I've got a client. It's funny because we work with a lot of the Michael Neal creating the impossible kind of ideas,
Mm.
and he looked at me one conversation, and we had talked about thought and kind of the role of thought, and like our reality is made of thought, and he looked at me at one point, and he'd been going on and on about this particular struggle in his business and how much he was up at night thinking about it and all this stuff. And he looked at me and he just started laughing. He's like, "Oh, I'm making that up, aren't I?" It's like, yeah.
Wow.
And so when he began to see like how much time he was spending making up stuff to be scared of or to overcome, or his life totally shifted.
I love these insights, man. I mean, when someone just, and me as well. I mean, when you just see like a new world, when you just, when you allow to
Hmm.
let go of this stuff, these constraints we have,
Yeah.
and and just one of the things which I believe about is it's I haven't seen anything which is impossible. I
Hmm.
haven't achieved everything,
Right.
that's for sure.
Right.
But I haven't seen and I haven't seen anything which I particularly was really committed to achieve and gave everything which I had, and I was open to let go of stuff, of course, and beliefs and other stuff around it, and
Yeah.
haven't achieved it.
Yeah.
There is nothing
Not that I can
there.
tell. I mean, like I said, there may be a line somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. I don't think I've even come close to it.
Tell me, you haven't come close to it, but can you share with the audience, with people, because there is this idea that we have always this models and and ideas which are stopping us from time to time to go to the next level.
Hmm.
Can you recall in your life what were these lines, and or models or places you let go so that you could go to the next level? Some of them, maybe.
The first thing that comes to mind, and I think this is kind of where you're going, Demi. So
Um,
steer me if I'm not. When I So in 2016, I had been talking about going out on my own as a coach for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And I had this 2 year plan that kept getting pushed out. In 2 more years, I'll be in a position where I can do this. In 2 more years, blah, blah, blah. And then, I got laid off. I got restructured. I was given a severance package. I had some, money saved. And it was kind of like the universe was saying, hey, so you've been talking about doing this coaching thing. Here's everything you need. Are you going to do it? And my immediate response was like, nope. and I realized what was getting, kind of in retrospect, what got in my way at the time was I didn't believe I could make a full-time living as a coach. And so I kept looking for things to do to like supplement my income while I was learning to be a coach. And interestingly enough, I was having lots of coaching conversations. People were interested in talking about coaching. It was like an engaging thing for me and for them. It wasn't turning into clients yet, but it was turning into, it was good conversation. Everything else that I was doing to like supplement things went nowhere. And so it was like, oh, I guess not only can I make a full-time living as a coach, I have to, because nothing else, like it was like the universe closed all the doors but this one and said, this is the one you're going to go through and you're going to figure this out.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I
That's good.
resist, like I said, I resisted. I resisted.
Of course, you resisted your mind. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't want to identify, especially when I talk about this myself. But it's just our small mind resists everything which is new,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
when we say
I
our
wanted
small
I
mind
wanted to
is,
stay small and safe. I was a consultant who knew certain things. I could make a living talking to people about those things. Yeah.
yeah, and then we know that, as you said, the small mind is actually the mind which helped us to survive until
Hmm.
this moment,
Hmm.
and we want to. The biggest problem is that people identify themselves with this mind too much,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we believe that this is our our only thing we can rely on, and
Hmm.
we, because we relied on it so many years so far, and
Right.
apparently we survived with it.
Right.
And
Well, it's really
I just
good
want,
at keeping us
yeah,
alive.
yeah, and
Um,
okay.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so much of our evolutionary makeup is around avoiding getting killed. Because that's how we survived to reproduce. The ones who didn't get killed survived to reproduce. So it's like whether it's, getting kicked out of the tribe or getting kind of off on the edges of the herd where you're going to get picked off by the mountain lion, whatever. It's like we learned to like look for danger.
And that was good.
Yeah.
That was really good at that point,
Yeah.
right?
Until we started
People,
making up a lot of things that weren't actually dangerous.
because it's in this way we were just leading towards the more secure place. Okay,
Hmm.
everything which is, I'm not 100% that is safe is dangerous,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but then we say, okay, nowadays, guys, the thing is that it's so counterintuitive the way we are gonna get prosperous nowadays than the way we got secured before. And it's
Hmm.
just the opposite of that. So before, of course, it was okay because the people who are too curious, who
Yeah.
wanted to explore too much, they died.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, exactly these people succeed.
Yeah. Now they start Uber.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. That's a great way to say it. They start Uber or
Yeah.
Airbnb.
Yeah.
And I have this favorite saying. It's from Bulgarian philosopher, and he just says that if there is a big pond in front of you and you want to go through it,
Mm-hmm.
you start and the car will come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Well,
this
there's
is
another
this,
like another
yeah,
saying that's like Eastern philosophies, and leap and the net will appear.
yeah,
I think that's the
yeah,
same kind of
exactly.
idea, right? That if you make the move, the universe has your back. And what we
And
want is we want to, and I've talked with so many people who's like, well, I would do this if I knew it would work out, right?
yes,
And that's not the way it works.
it was. I think it was Prison Break, the TV series. I just want to share that before we go ahead. It's I don't know who was. I think it's the main actor, the man who was saying that, but he was escaping from the prison something, or and they
Hmm.
asked him, but how did you know
Hmm.
that the guards will be exactly here and you're gonna go 1 second before them? And he was saying, I know it's 80-90% of the things. The other 10-20 are just fate, just
Right.
leap of faith.
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. There are always 10, 20, maybe 30% which are leap of faith.
Yeah. My own experience is it seems to be even more than that, more than 10 or 20%.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But who knows, right? I mean, we're kind of making that up, right?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
it's always
yeah. Yeah. To me, it's like all I know is I am drawn to go in a particular direction. I don't necessarily know why. And then I just trust that if I go in that direction, it'll become obvious what the next thing is, and then I'll do that, and so on and so on and so on.
yeah, and I think the biggest learning for me here, Jeff, is that this feeling inside of I if I just knew this and that, and then I'm gonna go. We need to reverse that, right?
Hmm.
That's the way we go towards it. It's just I want to do it. I know it's gonna happen. I don't know
Yeah.
how,
Yeah.
but I'm ready to go.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, and like the flip side of that is there is this illusion of safety that shows up. So, I need a regular job with a regular paycheck with benefits and whatever. And if I have that, I'm safe. And on August 1st, 2016, that was me. And on August 2nd, 2016, I lost all of it. And so it's like you don't know what's going to happen. You can think you're going the safe route, and this is the thing that kind of makes me sad, because so many people stick with what they think is safe and are
Hmm.
willing to make themselves smaller or appear in a certain way or act in a certain way or not say certain things to keep that safety. And they don't see that the most safe thing that you can be in the world is yourself, because then the right opportunities are going to find you and you're going to find the right opportunities, and there's just so much fulfillment in that. And I personally think it's less risky, like as
Yes.
a whether you're a coach or a consultant or someone who's kind of on their own, and you have maybe you have 5 clients, maybe you have 10, maybe you have 15 on any given day. On a really bad day, maybe 2 of those clients fire you, and you still have 90% of your business. You can't lose it all with one. For me, it was a Zoom conference call. I regret to
Wow.
inform you that you no longer have a job here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. It's like you have a one client. This is the job. You have one client. And
Right.
when you are working for someone, you have one goal, and it's like a one client. If this person says or this organization says, "I just don't want you more. You're not working here." That's it.
Yeah. 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 It's like I was in the financial services world, and it's all about diversification, right? And having one job is the exact opposite of diversification.
Exactly. So
It's
tell me more about
yeah.
this.
Go
How
ahead.
the coaching, how to be, because that's I think that's a great topic here because a lot of people who are listening that I'm sure that they are thinking about or they are part of the self-employed world, like
Hmm.
entrepreneurship, or they want to do something themselves. What makes that more safe and secure than having a safe job? Safe in quotes. I mean, just reverse. Let's reverse that.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely the multiple people paying you aspect of it. And so if you're like in a true startup world where you're going after funding and investors and all that, I mean, you have thrown all your eggs in one basket, and I would say that has a level of risk. And the risk is it's one idea. The the thing that feels less risky to me is um, if you are either starting something or you are joining a startup, um, there's typically this level of like passion and purpose that comes through that you're going to do a better job for that than you would
Mm-hmm.
be at some other employer.
Yes.
And from that perspective, whether or not the startup succeeds or fails is kind of irrelevant on a long time frame, right? Because you're going to learn so much about yourself and what you're good at doing that you're going to be able to bring that to the next one and then the next one and then the next one, as opposed to uh, I'm in this box on the organizational chart and I can't really go outside of that box. Um, and it's kind of soul crushing and dead, but it feels safe, but you don't really feel alive.
You're right.
Um, that's the box I want to break people out of.
Yeah,
That
definitely
that's the
this
thing
makes
that
good.
feels impossible, right? I could never leave my corporate job. Like that's where my safety and security is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not that great a job and whatever, but
but I'm
um
safe here. I have
yeah.
family, I have children, and of course that makes sense. But again, so is it like we have boxes like it is like my relationship, my career,
Hmm.
my friends. All of this is my safe place, and I don't want to leave it, even though I'm not happy there.
Yeah,
Because if I go out of it, what is there? But what if what is there is actually what you want?
right.
What if what is there is going to help you to express yourself in the way you want to express yourself?
Yeah.
What if there all the money, all the dreams, all the houses, all everything you want there, but just what you want to do is to decide to transcend this place you are right now.
Hmm.
And now it feels that you are stuck. Why? Because you haven't been there and you are stuck with your fears of if I go out I cannot handle it.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's almost I think there's this initial step. And so some people do this by they create some kind of, the word used to be side hustle, right? They do something on the side, they
Yeah.
experiment, they kind of get a sense of like, well, could this work for me? Could I get clients doing this? Could I explore this? And so it's almost this experiment of if I go outside my comfort zone, will it work? Will, you know, how do I experiment with various levels of discomfort and what I can tolerate?
Yeah.
And then over time, um, what I discovered is uh, not only was I kind of comfortable with that discomfort, if that makes sense,
It makes
but
sense, yeah.
I wanted to keep exploring that edge because all kinds of really cool things were happening on that edge.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is, and for me, this change of the mindset, like making this change, be a shift in the mindset, is gonna help people to really go there because they're gonna see that the long term results and the long term benefits are way